Okay, I call this meeting to order. Would you please rise, salute of the flag?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Welcome to the 2019 Town Budget Presentations. Just a few remarks I want to make before we get started. I want to thank Danielle for giving us our budgets, well detailed, and all the backups that you got on the flash drive. It was very good. It would probably help if every one of us would bring our computers in here, but sometimes that's not possible. Now, the next thing we're going to do is I have had to change the total budget breakdown for 2019. Oh, I forgot. You're going to open your meeting. Thank you.
I'd like to bring the Board of Selectmen meeting for December 5th, 2018 open at 6:03 p.m. and we'll go into recess.
You're going to recess? Why?
For our meeting.
For your meeting. This is your
That's the
meeting.
normal.
Okay. Thank you. My parliamentary rules are terrible. Okay. The first thing that I really wanted to get done was that, and the budget,
Before you roll call, make sure there's enough people here.
I think I'm going to have a hard time tonight with this thing. Okay, I got to call the roll. Starting with on my left,
Peg Hurd.
Thomas McDougal.
David Carpus.
Rob Carrier.
Larry Brown.
Tammy Smith.
Justin Bellin.
We have a quorum. Now, okay, I think I can do this now. Oh, we have to introduce the Water District, new member, Justin Bellin. Okay, welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm a little nervous tonight, so, but anyway, I think I can get through this. Did I forget anything yet? Am I on it?
Doing well so far.
Okay, I just want to make sure I didn't miss something. Oh, yes, Mark Courier is not going to be here tonight, so he's excused. Sherry, the recording clerk, will not be here. She will be videotaping, well, by the video. She'll be taking the minutes by video. Okay? Okay, first thing we got to do is clear this up. On the town's budget, breakdown, there was errors in the 2018 budget. I had to go through every one of them, and I was using the MS 737 and the expenditure report to find out where the error was, because the previous bottom line budget that was sent to us is incorrect. So by going through this, I found that the town administrator's bottom line was incorrect. It should be 283. I don't have the right ones in here. Does anybody have that so I can just see it? No, what it is, I gave everybody my paper. No, you ain't got it in there, Larry. Anyways, 283, and I don't have my expenditure report. Bear with me, I will get going. Should be 283, 823, 19. The other error came in at recreation. It should have been 62,580. So these are the two errors that I have, and I've already got Larry, thank you very much. The bottom line, this year's budget is $4,508,365. That's the budget that was passed in March. And the one I have here is incorrect. It is $4,509,612. These are just minor errors. There was one in the town administrator's line. The professional services was not correct. As for the recreation, I could not find anything. I just figured it is a typo. And I gave you each a sheet, and I kept the original sheet, and I gave you an updated sheet, so you can see both of them. You can see the difference on each one. That does change the number, though. The department's head request has stayed the same. I had not made any changes, even though there is some that's coming. So the department's request is $4,704,514. And by making the changes in the 2018 budget, the increase went up to $149,000. That's a 4.35% increase. So these are the only changes that's going to change. And as I said, there are going to be changes made, but this is just a starting point for us, and I just wanted to get the numbers correct. So now we will go with the presentation, but before we do, I would like to set some rules. If the committee does not mind, I would like to have the ones who present their budgets in its entirety without interruption, if it's okay with the committee. If you want me, I can stop at any point, but I would rather have them going through it so they don't lose their concentration. And the other thing, we are not going to make any decisions on any budgets tonight. Not until the very end, the last presentations. Then we're going to sit down and we'll go through it and make our recommendations. The first person that I'm going to have put up, I'm going to go against the agenda a little bit. I'll have welfare present their budget. If you look through the pages, you'll find it, and when you hit the agenda, you'll see all of the budgets that we're going to be speaking about tonight. We're going to go according to the budgets, the agendas. It should be in here.
It's 4 pages in.
It's what it is. It should be. I don't have a page number in here, but it should be.
It's the 4th page in.
Okay.
And I have them.
I had these in order that we were going to do it, so we're going to do it now. Go ahead anytime, Danielle.
The first line is the salary line. It's the 2019 request is $21,970. It's currently 20 hours a week. That's not any overtime or any kind of benefits. The FICA and the Medicare are reflective of the salary. FICA is at 6.2%. And then your Medicare is at 1.45%. The increase is due to the COLA merit from this past year. Training is a little bit of an increase this year. I have memberships to the New Hampshire Local Welfare Association. Membership itself is $30. There's approximately 9 workshops a year at $15 per workshop, and the annual conference is $55. The New Hampshire Municipal Annual Conference is $75. There's been more conferences added on than what I had went to last year and what I had figured out. That is the increase. Previous directors before me did not utilize the training options available. I think it's extremely important to go to these trainings to protect the town as well as townspeople. The electrical line, there's a decrease due to the usage request. I operate, or the town operates with Stratford Community Action. They have an electrical assistance program, along with other programs throughout the states that assist as well. So I was able to drop that line basically due to usage. These year-to-date expenditure is obviously from September when it was presented to the budget, or to the selectmen. So they have been adjusted since, but it gives you the same recollection of what the budget, or the selectmen had. The heating line, I was able to comfortably decrease that amount, again, due to usage. Stratford Cap is, again, another agency, the same agency has a secondary program for fuel assistance that benefit the town residents. The current year-to-date spended is $1,400. Stratford Cap got a second round of funding last year, so I'm just now coming into assisting out of that line due to their second round of funding. That is not always an option. They got lucky with printing and things through the state. The rent mortgage line is a slight decrease down to 18. Again, Stratford Community Action has a security deposit program to help offset the costs. The food line, the assistance line, we have communications with, again, Stratford Community Partners and their food pantry, as well as the Wakefield Food Pantry, who has over 70 families that they assist to just within this year. This number here says 40. I want to, right before Thanksgiving, that number is closer to 70. The food pantries are open offsetting days throughout the week, not including any churches that are local to the area. My medical line, I safely am able to decrease this just based on the usage of this line. Supplies, I'm remaining the same. That's for the ink for my printer, my files, the folders that I use, the colored paper that I use with my applications to keep things uniform. My postage line, I was able to reduce that down to $50. That's sending out any certified mailings, lien notices, any follow-up that I have requested through other agencies, or anything that's needed to be mailed. My equipment line is a slight decrease down to $150, and again, that's based on usage. My mileage, the local New Hampshire, or the New Hampshire Local Welfare Association, their workshops are based out of Concord. So you go back to the 9 trainings offered, mileage to Concord. That's approximately $46 each conference. And then the main conference in Manchester through New Hampshire Municipal, that's an approximate of $66. So that's your basic. That's not including any trips to Stratford County Registry of Deeds to file or release liens. This is due to the fact that there is no town vehicle offered to the town hall employees. This is not including any administrative work that I am doing or any of the administrative workshops that I go to. It's strictly my welfare trainings. The miscellaneous line, in previous years, final expenses have been taken out of miscellaneous. I personally don't feel that that's an appropriate line to be taken out of. By law, you have to provide for final expenses and it's not a miscellaneous. I was able to decrease the miscellaneous line due to the fact of adding in a final expenses line to correctly or appropriately show where the money is being expended from. Each assistance is valued at $750 approximately for a year. That's where the total of $3,000 came from for this line.
Okay. So your bottom line is,
I have an increase of $3,549.
okay, so what is,
The bottom line is 58,073.
okay. If anybody got any questions, please raise your hand and I'll know, so I'll recognize you. Tom?
In your FICA line, your comment, at least in the spreadsheet, you've got 33,000 times 6.2 and 33,000 times 1.45, but yet your salary request was 21,000.
Originally, when I took this position, the administrative assistant line was built into this job title. Everything was taken from the welfare line. We have since separated 10 hours to come out of the town administrator's line for the administrative assistants. That's where the difference is in the hours.
Okay, so you're accounting for all of your salary, FICA, and Medicare out of this line. There's no Medicare and FICA coming out of the other line?
No.
Is that no, there isn't, or?
Thank you.
The associated cost with the administrative line is coming, all of the salary associated is coming out of it.
So where does the,
33,000 number
Yeah.
come from?
or is the note incorrect in the
The
spreadsheet?
33,000 is my salary as a total, as presented to the Board of Selectmen. That is how it was presented.
But
I don't think you're looking at the sheet. He's looking at
I apologize, I don't even know.
and I guess I could have done the math to find out if it was 6.2 on 33 or not, but
Right. 21,970 times 6.2.
so the note on the spreadsheet is incorrect.
That, what I provided you is exactly what the Board of Selectmen was provided.
Okay.
I am not changing anything from what I provided them.
Yes, but my point is, when I look at this, I
So
see
the
that.
notation in the spreadsheet would be incorrect
Okay.
due to the
Okay.
33, but the request,
The request is that,
Yes.
is your 21 times whatever.
correct.
But my question is, when I look at this at home and I see 33, the question is that, your salary was that, but is that,
It
so,
was,
the
the way I
note
had it
does
laid
not-
out, it was bolded
Okay.
and made the distinction between,
okay,
like I said, it was how it was presented at,
okay,
the
okay,
select-
the note is incorrect. That's what I needed to know.
Anybody else? Peg?
Yeah, I'm just looking at the year-to-date, the report that you printed out, and then this one, we have a huge difference, so I'm assuming we go with the new
The
one?
year-to-date that's shown in your packets is from September. I'm assuming you have a more current expenditure.
Yeah, okay,
This is December.
all right, thank you.
I have current year-to-dates if you would like them.
I'm assuming they're correct in the expenditure report, 43,843? Sounds about right, okay,
Okay.
okay.
For the
Thank you,
committees,
Nicole.
for the committee, this came out yesterday. so
Right.
It's current. Is there anybody else? Seeing none. Okay, Peggy,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Well, I have another one too, because down at the bottom of the handout, it says is a total decrease of 8,324, but then you said there was an increase of 3,549. What's what? So it is the decrease?
There is absolutely no increase.
So it is the decrease, okay, I don't know, I wrote down
It's
something you
It's a
said.
14.33% decrease
Okay,
from last year.
all right, thank you. I just read something else.
Any other questions? Okay, Danielle, I guess you're all set. The next up would be assessing. That should be in the front. Okay, just for the committee's sake, I did not print everything out. I thought there'd be enough information on the front of the sheet. There would be enough, but it looks like we're gonna have a slide. You all set, Kathy? Oh, okay.
Kathy is a full-time salaried employee, and she's a department head, and we're fortunate to have somebody with her skills and years of experience. And as the assessing director, this year we did a salary study, and her salary was adjusted to reflect her number of years of experience and historical knowledge, and we're very fortunate for that. So her salary, she had an adjustment during the year. Her 2019 salary request is $48,724, and that includes a COLA and possible merit reflection. Then the FICA is reflective of that, and that is $3,020.88, which is 6.2% based on that. And the 2019 request is $706.50, which is again based on the Medicare figure for that.
So the next line is going to be the training line, and what I submitted to the Board of Selectmen at their budget meeting was $100. I have since reduced that down to $50, so that's an adjustment that we want to make. We're quite short-staffed at times, and we will be even more this year, and I will do webinars here on site rather than leave the building. The next item I have is the registry of deeds, which is information that I have to take on a weekly, monthly basis from the registry for all transfers of property and other forms of records that are recorded down there that I have to use to keep our records updated, deeds that I record for the town from different things if we sell a piece of property or anything like that. That is $250. The next is legal notices. I have talked with our new appraisal firm, and so that right now is at $75, which was a reduction over 2018. And because of our website and other ways of notifying the public, that has helped us. The next line is going to be software. This is for my update on the website where people can have access to the assessing cards, to the tax maps, as well as the office, as well as updating my programs in my computer for assessing purposes, which also goes on to the code department because they work off the same programs, and the tax collector's office. contracted, professional services, that has increased $500 this year because 1,500, the $500 extra, we used to have Norway Plains do an update on the maps, but with the GIS, that is my contributed amount for the updating of the maps and helping with the GIS. So it did need to be increased after a meeting with people that are handling that. My next item is 27,760, which is also an increase. That is because of the contract that we signed in 2018 with the new appraisal firm, Avatar. You will see that the expenditure line for 2018 is very low, and it's because we're going into a revaluation for 2019, and I'm going to have to encumber a lot of the money from 2018 into 19 to meet the contract for the revaluation. So that will be coming up for being encumbered. Printing is $25, and that's strictly for some business cards or some, we do not have to do much printing anymore. The next line is supplies, that is for cartridges of inks and for some office supplies, envelopes, paper. The next one is postage, which that is another line that I'm going to drop down to $350 after checking my expenses. So that went down $50. Equipment and maintenance, $100. Equipment purchase, I reduced another $100 from $200, which was presented to the Board of Selectmen. I have $25 in there for mileage. As I said, I was not going to, I don't anticipate any travel for classes or training, but it's in there for an emergency purpose. Memberships and dues is $20, and there's $10 in the miscellaneous for any items that won't fit under a line.
Okay.
So it's a total budget with the reduction of the 3 items I gave you of $200, so that will be $128,616.38.
Everybody get that?
128,616.38.
Okay, 128,616.
38.
Okay. Are there any, if there was any questions, what I forgot to tell you is give the line number and the title. Tom?
Let's see, line, let's see, it's number 5 in the spreadsheet. It's the salary line, 01-4152-110. The amount you said was you had added the salary adjustment and then added the COLA and...
It's a proposed COLA halfway through, usually in July. There is a COLA and a possible merit increase for next year.
Okay.
So that's what that would be.
So how much was the salary increase separate from the COLA and...
I will have to pull that. It wasn't at the same time last year, but I can pull that for you and get that information too. Normally, employees have up to, it's 3.7, it's 2% and then 1%.
Yeah.
It's 1.7%.
Yeah, I'm just curious because you said that you to bring her on parity with everybody else, and then 6 months later, a COLA on top of that.
Well, no, it wasn't 6 months later. Normally, employees are evaluated, and there's a COLA.
Yep.
There's a COLA and there's an evaluation done in July for employees. So that's when the time frame is. And that was done. And then at the same time, we also did, not the same time, but a few months later, we did do a wage study on her position. And it was probably, I think, it's a little bit later than that. So I will pull that, I have to go pull that actual file.
Okay, all right,
I don't know it off the top of my head,
okay.
but it just, sometimes you have to look at what employees other towns are making and making sure that we keep our valued employees and.
Yeah. Oh, I'm just curious what the increase, what we're actually applying the real salary that we would actually be applying the COLA and merit to is what I'm trying to find, because we combine two things into the increase. What's the breakdown of the two things?
Yeah, last year was just we had an adjustment to make and we had to address it, but I think it's important to put that right out there so that you know what happened, and going forward, transparency is key.
Yeah, and I've had that salary adjustment happen before too. So, I'm just trying to figure out how to allocate what to which bid did happen.
You all set, Tom?
A general question, I think you said that your bottom line number went down $200, basically?
Should have.
Okay, I missed $50 somewhere, I think.
All right, there was $50 in the training
Okay,
line.
yep,
Okay, $240. There was $50 in the postage line.
okay, I must,
$625.
okay, I was mucking with the thing over there, I think. Okay,
All right, and you got the
Yeah.
other one.
got the, okay, perfect.
Okay, Larry?
Postage, that was my segue. Going back to 2016, first-class postage was 47 cents.
Mhm.
First-class postage is now 50 cents.
The reason why in 2016 you're seeing that $1,800 is because we started postage prior to that came out of the town administrator's line. And the departments were not breaking it down or being charged for the monies that they used in each department. And we really had no way to come up with a figure at that time, which each department was using. Back then, we were doing the mailings, like I have a revaluation coming up in 2019. Back then, we were doing the big mailings for the appraisal firms that I had to send out to every resident of the town. We're not doing that. I confirmed with them. They said that they are going to handle the mailing right from their office and everything. So now, like I said, now you're seeing in the budgets, everybody's budget, a more truer figure for postage. Before it was a figure, it was, just put into the town administrator's line.
Good, Larry.
To pick a number,
Mhm.
2,000 tax bills,
Mm-hmm,
50 cents apiece,
mm-hmm.
$1,000. Who pays that?
It is going to, you mean right now, for the
Yeah.
tax bills, that's coming out of the tax collector's office.
Okay.
She's the one that generates the bills. I have to generate notices to the public for, when we do the revaluation next year, you are going to get a letter in the mail saying this is what your value is for the 2019 year. So everybody will get a letter stating what their property has, the value has changed to per the revaluation.
Right. And the software for that will be found on
The software
396.
for the, I'm not, the
Larry,
software
what
is
number are you looking at?
Oh, it would be 396 contracted assessor, and above that 395 professional services.
Right, professional services is going to be the mapping of the GIS, which we're going to be, we're working towards. Contracted assessor is the appraisal firm that will be doing the
That's the
work.
one, yeah.
And then your software is for the programs. I have a program in my system that feeds the tax collector's office as well as the planning department for building permits. Every year they have to be upgraded, and the MS1 forms that we use with the state for setting the tax rates, different forms and that, everything has to be upgraded to meet the state's needs for their forms. So there is an upgrading done every year, and that is the charge for it. We've had Avatar over 10 years, and they're very efficient. The programs, I know Michelle has been at different places, and we all prefer their programs over different ones we've seen. They're excellent. And then there's a cost also in there for the website where people can, which has cut down on supplies because I have less people coming to my counter asking for copies of maps, asking for copies of assessment cards. They can now go online, get all the information they want. They need to talk to me or have a question answered, they call me, but it has helped tremendously.
Electrons are cheap.
Yeah, but
Thank
it
you.
has helped. It has allowed us to have, be able to work in other areas too.
Okay, just so I can get this straight, the software support was 014152-393. Professional service that Larry was talking about was 01-4152-395.
Right.
You gotta make sure these numbers go on there, because Sherry's gonna have to put these in. Are there any other questions? I have one.
Okay.
It's 014152-396, contracted assessor. You're going to encumber that money
I
What-
have to encumber from 2018. In 2018, the Board of Selectmen signed an agreement, contract with Avatar for a 2-year contract.
So,
And we had already, the budget was already in place for 2018, and there was $65,000 there.
yep,
That is the amount of money that Avatar needed this year for what they were going to be working on was less money than that considerably. Roughly, probably about 15 to 16,000. I don't have the figure in front of me. I can tell you what the expenditure is though, year to date.
I can do that here. It's-
Year to date, they've spent like 15,600. So the remainder of that money, of the 65,000, we're going to need it for the 2019 year because that is going to be a revaluation year, and that is a year where there's a lot done. There will be a lot of people here to help the person that we have on staff, Jonathan, and they also have to do all the data to update and change in the system. And so that money will be needed for the 2019 year. So I don't have to put in the amount that 2019's contract year would cost us.
So that money's gonna be on top of the 67?
Yeah. Because I think their contract, I think it's about, it was in 2018, I think it was roughly 130,000 for 2 years,
Okay,
which it has been costing us about $65,000 a year, which is 130,000 in 2 years. It's just that we're not spending all the money in 2018, so we need to encumber it for 2019.
okay, that'll help cover the
That
67,000.
helps. It's not, no, we need the 65,000, but we also need the remainder of 2018
Yeah.
to cover it.
That's gonna be additional to this,
Yes.
okay. Anybody else got any questions?
Just,
Tom?
I just want to make sure that I understood. So we spent roughly 15,000 so far for assessing. We got saved $50,000 in the pot. That's going to need to be encumbered for next year in addition to
Yes.
67 to pay for the total contract that was signed last year.
Yes, the
Okay.
contract when they signed it was rough,
Yep.
off the top of my head, about 132,000.
All right, okay. I just wanted to make sure that I understood what the back and forth was.
That's
I got it
okay,
now.
yeah.
We're good.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, Kathy, that's
Thank
it.
you.
Now, we got police. Chief Klaus? I will tell you, Chief, you done a great presentation. An awful lot of information was put into this, so much that I couldn't print it all. But it was a good job. You really broke it down quite well. Well done.
That is recording now.
Okay. It's been recording. What I'm going to have to do is get a copy of it and upload it later.
Okay.
It's, I guess we had forgotten to click the broadcast button.
It's not broadcasting.
It is now. According to everything you say.
Half of the welfare, yes.
Yeah, we recorded it, so I'll throw it up there. The bigger question is, can they hear us?
Hey, Chief.
All set.
You all set?
So as you can see, the police department's budget is about 85% personnel. Only leaves us about 15% for everything else. Full-time salary line is $476,433.24. That's an increase of $2,658.52. I gave you guys the chart explaining and showing the increases. Increases for the officers getting their step
You won't
increase.
see it, Danny.
The reason why the increase is only $2,000 is because we had some turnover this year. That turnover, 2 of the officers who left made significantly more money than the officers that are coming back in. So it allows us to keep that line a little bit closer, so the increase is significantly small, even with our officers getting their step raises. Part-time salary line, $12,500. I increased this line by $500 with the expectation that we would still have 2 part-time officers and our chaplain. We are going to be down to 1 part-time officer, but I will be approaching the selectmen to put that back to 2 at the next selectmen's meeting. So the $500 increase is to allow the chaplain and both of the part-time officers to be available to get the 1.7% COLA and the possible 2% merit raise. Administrative assistant. The administrative assistant was one of the positions that the town administrator did a salary study on. That salary study, the administrative assistant has worked for the town for 18 years. She was making less than some of the people who had been hired in. That salary study needed to be done. It was done and found that she was significantly underpaid compared to her years of service, as well as her knowledge and the tasks she was completing. So the selectmen did a wage correction. That line, as I explained in your handouts, you'll see that the line has an increase of $5,881.20 over what would be if her salary would have been corrected for the whole year of 2018. She does have the ability to get the 2%, possible 2% merit and the 1.7% COLA. So her line shows a $7,311.20 increase, but that is because of the wage correction through the year. Longevity and retention, that line has no change. There's $2,500 in that line. This is a line that was created in '09. This line was created by the Board of Selectmen and the Chief of Police at that time for our attempt to keep our officers and keep our employees instead of losing them to other agencies. We couldn't get the pay scales up, but this allowed us to give them a one-time stipend during the year to try and give them a little bit more. When we passed all the raises in 2014 for all of the officers, the administrative assistant was not part of that warrant article. So it was corrected so that there was enough money left in that line that it stayed, the longevity stayed out to the original plan for which the Board of Selectmen and the Chief of Police at the time had set it for a 24-year plan. The $2,500 is the maximum that could be issued out in year 24.
Okay.
chief salary. This line went up to $84,240, which is a $1,653.60 increase. This is my step in the step plan that you guys have a copy of. Grant line did not change. Grant line is a 50-50 match line that we have to have. So if we apply for a federal grant or a state grant and we have to have 50-50 money award, this is where that comes out. 95% of the time we use this for the bulletproof vest grant, because we have a required shall wear policy for our department.
Nice.
FICA increased $484.29 to $4,164.12. That increased with part-time salaries and the administrative assistant salary. Medicare increased by $607.88 to $9,535.87. That increased with raises. Retirement is going down for the first time it's not, the overall isn't going down, but the rate that we have to pay the state is going down for the first time in probably
6 years or 7 years. Next year, it drops a percentage point from 29.43 to 28.43 halfway through the year. So the retirement is $173,374.83, and it's $6,103.21 increase. And my PowerPoint has a typo on it, so it's not 26.38 anymore. That was like 3 years ago. But this breakdown shows you what it costs us for retirement, shows you the breakdown for the 6 months on both percentage rates on what the town will have to pay. You should all have that in your handout. PD training, I increased PD training $1,500. PD training pays for our ammunition, pays for any targets we need, but it also pays for any out-of-state training that we have to send any officers to. Some of you may have my job description. I guess even some of you may not. I know it was released. Some people had asked for all of the job descriptions in town. You'll see in my job description, it says that I can attend the New Hampshire Police Chiefs Conference 1 year, and then the next year I can attend the National Police Chiefs Conference. Those are trainings that allow us to go to. I've been chief since 2013 and haven't gone to that once. We haven't had the money or the personnel for me to be able to attend those. So in my opinion, it's better to spend that money on my personnel than me going to those trainings. Biggest problem we're running into is there is no more classes for me to attend at the academy other than me going to a class just to fill my 8 hours and not really being useful back here at town. Going to a class that's how to deal with a mentally disturbed person. After 18 years, I'm pretty good at figuring that out. So that's kind of where we're at right now. Hiring and testing is still at $500. We have not changed that, even though I'm sure many of you will see on the year-to-date where that line is overexpended. It would be doubled if we could fill our last 2 positions. Uniforms lines, I talked to the budget committee about this last year. Stan wanted to increase it to this number last year. I explained to you all last year that I wanted to do this, and so I'm putting it into this year's increase. I've increased it to $8,000, which is a $2,000 increase. The $2,000 increase is to allow for me to give the officers a $500 number for the year, each one of them. That way they can recoup whatever they need to do and cycle out whatever uniform items they need to cycle out. Once they hit that $500 number, they're done for the year. That still allows for a small amount of money to hire and outfit the new officers that come in through the door. Legal services has not changed, it's still $14,000. This pays for our prosecutor, who we contract through the Stratford County Sheriff's Department. $13,000 of that goes towards the legal contract. The other $1,000 goes towards supplies. Contracted services increased $185 to $22,948. You'll see in the contracted services spreadsheet that I gave you that we pulled out the CJIS compliance licensing and key fobs. That still has not been something that we were waiting to do that with the rest of the county with our new computer systems. That is something we've decided to go a different route with, and we found other ways to be able to meet the compliance that we need to with CJIS without buying those key fobs and going that route. One thing that it did allow us to do, though, is absorb the county dispatch fee increase and the IMC licensing fee increase that Board of Selectmen has received. To notice that fee is going up for the dispatch county fee is going up, and the IMC fees I expect to go up about $300. Legal ads and notices, $100, no change to that line. Veterinary and professional services, $100, no change to that line. Police electricity. So this line I've been looking at pretty closely. We had the LED grant that the Public Works Director worked very hard on to get us. We have to pay a certain amount of money for. There's a large amount of money left in my budget that I'm going to ask the Board of Selectmen to pay off the town's portion of the grant for the end of the year. That way we can start recouping the savings for these new LED lights right away next year. We've already seen, just in my department alone, the last 2 months we've seen a $200 decrease right off the top of our bill from these LED lights. So if we can pay off what we're required to pay on our half of that grant, then we can start recouping that next year. So my suggestion is to bring that line and only increase that line by $500. So have that line at $7,700 instead of the $8,784.
You just reduced it?
Yep,
To,
$7,700.
okay. That's the electricity line, did everybody get that? Okay, go ahead.
Heating is $3,000, no change in heating. For some reason, the building maintains its heat very well, and we don't seem to use a lot of propane. I don't understand why it always shows that we're not spending any money out of that line when we are, but. Telephone, $3,700, there's no change to that line either. Printing, $600, no change. Supplies, $6,000, no change. Fuel is $15,000, no change. Vehicle maintenance, $6,000, no change. Cruiser purchase lease, $31,000, no change. Equipment maintenance, $3,000, no change. Equipment purchase, $6,200, no change. Equipment lease, $4,600, no change. Mileage and travel, $1,100, no change. Dues and subscriptions is $750, that has no change as well. Miscellaneous is $1. Educational incentive is $4,500, no change to that as well. And the new line is to add a half-year school resource officer, $29,800. That will allow for us to hire a school resource officer to put into both buildings, the high school and the elementary school. It's one officer that will float between both buildings. It's for half the year. We'll hire that employee from July 1st on. That'll allow us 2 months to get them the training that is required to send them to. Into that $29,800 is some overtime built into it that will be almost mandatory for the officer weekly. The school has requested some overtime be built in because they're going to be requesting that the officer be available for dances and things to that nature. That officer, who is the SRO, will also be our DARE officer. They'll be coordinating DARE within the buildings. That'll allow us to be able to do DARE not only at the elementary school and only in one class. We currently only do it in the 5th grade, but it'll allow us to do more classes at the elementary school and allow us to do the middle school level DARE class. The other thing that the SRO allows us to do is it allows us to clear up the duty officer from the current Monday through Friday. The duty officers are on mandate for directed patrols, that they will be in the school zone from 6:45 until 8:30 in the morning, and then in the afternoon from 2 to 3:30. They will be on directed patrol in those zones if they're not on a priority call. That doesn't count any calls that we may get to the schools. So that 1 or 2 duty officers who may be on duty, there's already almost 4.5 hours of your 10-hour shift that are tied up just dealing with the school. That'll clear up a large number of our time for having a school resource officer in the building. It also gives the kids the ability to have a closer contact with our officers and a different type of contact with our officers. The other aspect it gives us is last spring when we had the issue at the school, for those of you who don't have kids in the schools or aren't close to the kids in the schools, when we had the issue in the school last year, every single time that PA system went off, those kids went into a panic thinking that it was going into lockdown again. So having an officer inside the building will give them that reassurance that there is that safety in the building as well. I gave you a few of the things that the school gave to me that they would be looking for the SRO to assist them with. My total budget would be $992,004.26, which is an increase of $54,387.71.
Okay. Any questions? Tom?
Your final number there does not take into account the reduction in electricity,
It
correct?
does not.
Okay, I didn't think so. And on your school administrator, I'm talking.
SRO.
No, on the administrator, your
Yep.
administrative salary. Again, sort of the same question. I think I know the answer that I'd asked about for assessing. I'm sorry, and the line for that is 01-4210-121.
Thank you.
What was, now I think you said did it get increased by 5,000? Rough, this is rough numbers.
It went from $19 and
And if it's in your presentation and I missed it, I do apologize.
went from $19.75 to $22.50.
Okay, so roughly $500 a year. Okay.
Peg?
Yeah, I have a question. On your grant line, Rich?
Yep.
You said it's a 50-50 so that you put the 5,000 in. To me, that means you could only look for a $10,000 grant somewhere. What happens if you have the opportunity to apply for a larger grant?
Then I would approach the Board of Selectmen
Okay.
to be able to do that.
All right, so that's just kind of I'm
just
leaving
a
it there
baseline
for,
number.
okay. All right, good, thank you. I just was in hopes that you'd be able to look for.
Yeah, if I was going
More
to buy,
expensive ones.
if I was going to buy something like a speed trailer, which is $16,000, and the state, there's a grant out there that I can get half of it from the state, so I'd have to come to the Board of Selectmen to raise the extra, find the extra $3,000.
Okay, good, thank you.
Tom? I don't know, I'm sorry, I'll get you.
Is there any possibility of sharing the cost of the SRO with the school, or is the administrative of that just not worth the trouble to try to share the cost?
In my opinion, the administrative side of it is just not worth
Okay.
sharing the cost. It's all coming out of the same tax base.
Yeah.
The tax raise is all the same,
Yeah.
whether or not it's written in the school budget and written in the PD budget. In my opinion, it's
Yeah.
all the same.
Larry? I'll get you after.
A non-line item question, if I heard you. Key fob?
Yes.
What is?
It's just a fob that allows us to, it'll give us a readout number. So you would push the button, it'd give you a number. That's your code to get into the CGIS system that confirms you are who you are.
To the what system?
It's an electronic security mechanism for accessing the secure data that the police force uses over their computer systems.
What do you say?
Dave?
Similar but different question from Tom about the SRO officer. So the school budget they also had a increased salary item for an additional or they moved somebody from part-time to full-time, from my understanding, for the same issue, basically from the spring. I don't know the details of it. To have somebody there cover more. Is there any particular reason that both that and the SRO need to happen in terms of?
I have no clue what the school did with their budget.
And I have no clue what he's talking about either.
There was a front desk person that
Oh, it was the secretary. Okay,
that
it
was
just the
increased from
secretary, right.
part-time to full-time.
Right, but that has nothing to do
With the spring
No.
incident, because I thought that
No.
was one of the.
No.
Okay,
Sorry.
it's all right.
What?
Yeah, Tammy.
Chief, did you say that you're down 2 officers that you're not replacing?
We are still trying to replace them.
Okay.
We've been trying to replace those 2 positions for 2 years. The hiring pool, unfortunately, is not very good right now. We currently have 90, what we send out, 90 letters?
I sent out 90 letters.
90 letters. And the physical test for those 90 letters is this coming Saturday. The deadline to get those letters back to us is Friday, and we've received 4 letters back of the 90 we sent out. We've done this this will be our 5th attempt in 2 years at a hiring process, and the max we got back was 12.
So I guess, do you anticipate any issues with being able to hire somebody just part-time? Because not a lot of people are going to want to work part-time, are they, as opposed to looking for a full-time
The
job?
part-time, I already have someone
Okay.
who's interested in the
Okay,
part-time.
good.
Peg?
Okay, I have one more question for you. Just looking at the year-to-date,
Okay.
line number, well, they're all the same except the last ones, the 420, the heating. You've only spent $822 year-to-date?
Because we don't spend a lot.
I know, but I'm just looking at,
And they usually fill up the last week of December, so it usually gets processed on the year before bill.
okay, so will it go up to the 7,700 from the 822? Well, you're projecting,
$3,000.
3,000 is the heating propane.
oh, I'm sorry, it was the other one, okay. So will it go up to the 3,000?
The
Do you think?
3,000? The 3,000 is 2 fill-ups of our tank. We have a
Okay.
1,000-gallon tank at $1.54 a gallon. It's not even 2 fill-ups, but
All right. Okay, it just seemed
that's
low.
just hoping that we don't have to fill the tank twice.
Okay. I think
Okay.
everybody needs to move into the police station. Stay warm.
Okay, I got one, Chief. The SRO,
Yep.
I would particularly like to see that go into a warrant article instead of in the budget. That would significantly lower that budget. And if you leave it in there, I really feel that should go into a warrant article. Let the people make the choice. That's my only suggestion.
I thought about that, and I spoke to the selectmen about possibly doing that as well. Part of my issue with putting it onto a warrant article is the residents vote on the budget. So they're making that decision as well, either way. A warrant article, I've written the wording for the warrant article. It is a tough worded warrant article to have to write. Because you're writing a warrant article that you're hiring a new employee for half a year, but you're writing into that warrant article that that employee becomes a full-time year employee the very next year. You're also writing into that warrant article that the warrant article has salary in it, retirement in it, FICA in it, things to that nature. In my opinion, if it stays inside of my budget, it's easier to explain, and it's very easy for anyone who looks at this presentation or looks at the other handout you have. They can easily decipher what that resource officer is going to cost us for the year.
The only concern I have, Chief, is this budget is still high. We could lose the budget as well. And I'm not seeing a whole lot that I can move around. And at least you put it out there, it's a risk, but if they approve it, that goes in your budget. But if you leave it in here, the budget is high.
So this is the other problem with putting it into a warrant article. So if the residents vote no means no. So if I get my 2 other positions and I can get those back on board and I decide to take one of those 2 positions and put him up at the school as a resource officer, that warrant article is a no. They said no to a resource officer. I now cannot put that officer inside that building and use him as an SRO.
Okay.
So that's the risk we take as using that into a warrant article.
We'll take a risk on both sides.
You're correct. We do take a risk on both sides, but I guess the question I'd have to ask this board is, which risk would you rather have? Would you rather sell the budget, and yes, it's an increase in the budget, because the SRO is in their budget and you sell it that way? Or would you take the risk of trying to sell a warrant article that gets voted down as a no means no, and we get to the 8th, and somehow we can try to put that officer into the building because that's what we need to end up doing, and we can't spend that money that way because they voted no on having an SRO.
I won't put it before the board tonight, but I will put it before the board. I'm sorry, Chief. Hold on, Peg. I'd like to see this budget get through, and by taking that off, that's gonna take a big slice out of that big number.
Well, I think unfortunately, looking at a number instead of looking at safety is probably not the best way to look at it.
Chief, I'm not knocking safety down. It's just that people are going to look at numbers. I understand we could take the chance. It's just a suggestion that we put it in, otherwise we're going to have to look elsewhere to bring it down to a certain level. It's still high. I haven't seen a whole lot to move around. I know I saw some reductions tonight, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. But I'll consider it. Okay? Anybody else got any questions, Larry?
Yeah. Can you decontent your warrant article so that it is for a position subject to such assignment as the chief determines and conditions of employment as determined by the select board? That's one. Secondly, can you have a school assignment patrol that is not a school resource officer?
Well, it's currently what we already do, director patrols. But they don't spend, the officer doesn't spend the entire day scheduled to that building or those two buildings.
Dave? I'm sorry, Peg.
Peg was first.
Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. I think one of my questions to you, Bob, when we got all of this information was that I was not seeing default budgets. And I guess my thinking, being on the school board, is if the default budget, which is less than the proposed budget, goes through, then you have to look and say, okay, I can cut. But if you have in the default budget somehow the two positions that you really want to fill, and at that point, you could put one in as an SRO rather than the warrant article. Just another way of looking at it and thinking. But I don't know what the default budget is for your...
The problem with the default budget, and the other problem with looking at taking one of my 8 guys and putting them in there,
I know, you're losing out.
One of those two people are most likely going to be green, go to the academy, brand new people.
Which
Those
you
are
don't
not
want
gonna
as
be
an
people who are
SRO.
You're not sending those people as an SRO
Right.
into the building. It's just, that's not what you're doing.
SRO is specially trained.
Correct.
We'll take you. Alright, never mind. I think you'd be great.
Please don't do that.
What? No, we wouldn't? Okay.
Go ahead, Tom.
Have we ever had an SRO in the school before?
No.
Okay. Answers that question.
No.
And,
Dave?
but do you know about how many of the districts in the state actually have SROs?
What if you...
I don't know exactly how many have SROs. I believe Rochester has an SRO for their high school, one for the middle school, and then one,
A roving one for elementary.
I thought they had 2.
Do they have 2 for the elementary
that
now?
Split
Okay.
the elementary schools. Farmington has an SRO, Somersworth has an SRO. Wakefield does not currently have an SRO, but they are going for an SRO for their elementary school, I believe. I don't believe Middleton has an SRO for theirs. Wolfboro has SROs. Dover has SROs.
My thought was if the direction of put it on a warrant comes up, there would be a significant justification to go, like, look, 80% of the towns in New Hampshire all have SROs, we just don't have one.
And the intent is to apply for the federal grant again, the federal COPS grant again. Unfortunately, the federal COPS grant is frozen in litigation, so can't really apply for something that's frozen in litigation when the federal government's suing the federal government. So until they give us the standards and the ability to apply for it, we can't apply for that. So it's either we wait for them to decipher whatever their issues are, or we move forward with it on our own.
Go ahead, Tom.
You mentioned you had put money in for training for yourself to go. Are you going out of state to the Chiefs conference this year? Or is that what you would like to do next year, I guess?
It'll be next year.
Yeah.
This year's already
Yeah.
passed.
Yeah, but I mean, that's what you were planning on doing?
Correct.
Okay.
Anybody else? I'm gonna tell you, Chief, I'm gonna probably think about it, but unless I see some numbers, I'm gonna have a hard time with this one. Larry?
I will take a dark, optimistic view and have the English major kick in. And it goes as follows. 100% of all New Hampshire schools have 100% of their children. Keep the stats up, higher in SRO.
Can you say it louder, Larry? please?
That 100% of New Hampshire schools have 100% of their children. Keep the stats up, higher in SRO.
Hey,
It's a Larryism.
Two items now that I'm double checking back on my, the police department grant line.
okay, give a number, please.
144. I'm not going to repeat the first set of numbers. It's all 101, 420, 210, 144. It's 5,000. You said that's primarily bulletproof vest.
It's a 50-50 grant line, and we primarily use it for our bulletproof vest. So every 5 years, we have to replace our bulletproof vest. And every
okay.
new officer that comes in,
That was the piece of information I didn't hear before, is the fact that you're required to replace them every 5 years.
they expire every 5 years.
Okay.
And then every officer who comes in, brand new, gets a brand new vest.
Okay, that's what I was missing, and then the,
Because part of the compliance for the grant is the vest has to be fitted to that officer. So
every 5 years.
it has to be fitted to the officer, but every new officer that comes in, the vest has to be fitted to them as well. So I can take a vest that is from an officer who just left and have them use that for a short period of time. But if it's not properly fitted to that officer, then I can't keep having them wear that, because ultimately the officer's A, not going to wear it, or B, it's not covering the protection area that could possibly be protected.
And the second question was contract services,
Okay, you got the number?
340.
Yep.
So the computer guy in me asked, the thing that jumped out at me is you have Sophos and Norton 360. You got two different virus systems. Is there?
Correct. Sophos is our in-house. It does our server base. The Norton does all of our MDTs.
Okay.
Okay, any other
You had that
questions?
I asked that same question
Oh.
years ago.
You asked me last year.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Same question last year, same question the year before.
And the answers are consistent.
Is there any other questions? Okay, Chief, I guess we're all set.
All right, so that's a sample wording of
Yep.
what the warrant article would look like.
Okay,
Unfortunately, as you can see, it is, most people walking into the booth are not going to really understand the wording of that. It hasn't gone before legal yet, but I've been doing this for a little while, and my guess is that's the way it's going to have to be worded.
okay, Chief, take it into consideration. And not only that, it's the full board that has to vote on it anyway. So, The Milton Free Library, she here? Will be tonight,
The library is coming after 7:30. She's
after
committed-
7:30? Okay,
She was committed till 7:30.
all right, so then we'll go to the next one. If I can get my,
Point of clarification, you asked a question about the assessing salary. Half a year was about $3,000 increase. The whole year was about a $6,000
Okay.
increase.
okay, I kinda didn't get that, can you write to me so I can get,
He asked about the salary increase. Half a year increase was about $3,000, the whole year was $6,000 increase. For the salary separate.
so that, this is assessing, and I see,
Assessing salary director said.
so half a year's 3,000?
3,000, whole year was 6,000.
And for the other half, is it another 6,000?
It's total 6,000.
Thousand, okay, for the,
3,000 for each 6 months.
okay. Peg,
When did that go into effect? 'Cause
July 9th.
myself in July. All right,
okay, now,
thank you.
Payroll entry date
July
was July
9th?
16,
Yep.
2018.
okay, I want to keep on going. Next one is government buildings. I'll take Pat. Yes.
So the other handout I gave you all was a, study. It has to do with number of employees for the police departments. There's two different types of studies that are normally done. The FBI's per capita, which is 2 officers per 1,000. If you do that just based off of the FBI's per capita statute, it's just over 9 officers is what we should have for the town. The secondary study that I used is the zero-based staffing study. It's a study that was created, it's used by the FBI, it's taught by the FBI. If you look at that study shows based off of statistical data for the mileage of roads we have to cover, the number of calls we have to cover, the level 1 index crimes and the non-index crimes that we have to cover. It says we should have 12 officers for this now. That's not including my position, because in most departments, the chief of police is more administrative. Obviously here, that's not how it works, because we're a smaller department and that's the way it works. Obviously, under no circumstance am I asking for 12 officers.
Okay.
I did this study because we are asking for the SRO.
Yep.
The SRO helps us out in the school. We'll be in the school 75% of the time, but in the summertime, that gives us the extra body on the street that we actually need.
Okay, thank you, Chief. Yes, Aaron?
Chief,
Yeah.
would that also give the opportunity to have, I know you used to have a Marine patrol, and would that be,
That's the 2 part-time officers
Okay.
would be able to do Marine patrol. We'd be using them to cover less shift coverage
Okay.
and more direct into Marine patrol only.
okay, all right, thank you.
Okay. Okay, now can we get the government buildings? Go ahead, Pat.
I would like to thank you, Bob, for changing your schedule a little bit for me so I could come in a little earlier. So I appreciate that, thank you. Government buildings. The government building salary full-time line is $101,728. This line includes a full-time cleaner and 2 full-time government building personnel. It also includes $8,000 for overtime, which is used to snow removal. Government building part-time line is $1. FICA, $6,308. Medicare, $1,476. Uniforms, $450. Contract services, $20,054. Professional services, $1. Government buildings electric is $9,600. Government buildings heat, $6,710. Government buildings water, $5,750. Supplies, $4,612. Postage, $10. Vehicle fuel, $4,000. $765. Maintenance, government buildings maintenance is $20,000. Cemetery maintenance is $5,000. Equipment maintenance is $1,000. Equipment purchase $300. Equipment lease is $500. Miscellaneous $1, which comes to a total of $188,266, which is $5,707 less than last year.
Okay. Any questions? Tom, and I'll get Peg after. I'm sorry.
Is, now that the town's taking over the cemeteries, is 5,000 gonna be enough for cemetery maintenance?
That $5,000 is not for the Milton Mills
Okay,
Cemetery.
all right.
That
Okay, that's the
$5,000
little ones.
covers like 25, 30 cemeteries around the town
Okay, all
that are
right,
small.
okay.
Oh, you didn't give the number, Tom.
Oh, I'm sorry, that is 01-4194-725.
Okay. Now, Peg?
Yeah, the salary, full-time salary went way down.
What's that?
Full-time salary?
Yes, we had turnover,
Okay,
so the person that left was making more money,
okay. And no part-time people?
no part-time.
Thank you.
Okay. That was there, Peg, that was 014194.
Oh, I'm sorry, 110.
Salary full-time, and the next one was 014194-120, part-time. Okay, I know it's hard to remember that. Anybody else? Seeing none, we'll take the next one is, I believe I have it as the, Larry? You
Yeah,
got a question?
under, what do you call it? The library repair plan, which would be 4194, 721. There's nothing there. I'm right here.
Yeah. Sixth from the bottom, line item,
Oh,
zero line
okay.
item.
You're looking at another sheet. the budget
721.
sheet.
Okay, all right.
You're looking at the budget sheet. It's not in
It's an
the,
encumbered line.
what's that?
Could have been a line that was encumbered when I encumbered money for
Something
repairs.
else.
Okay, the only thing, what he's using is the 28, the budget, but the one was the selectmen's request that they made. That, he's using the master one. And it's in that one, I believe.
It's
set?
all paper.
Okay, you all set, Larry? You
Yeah.
want questions? Okay, we'll go to highway.
Highway?
Yeah, I know, I got it probably backwards, but I got highway.
Okay, highway salaries, line 110, $284,750. This includes the 2019 step increase and $45,000 for overtime. The 120 highway salary part-time line, $21,786. This includes a 2019 step increase, and it also increased the hours of the secretary from 25 to 30 hours. The 130 highway salary elected is $66,302. That includes a 2019 step increase. 220 line FICA, $23,116. 225 line Medicare, $5,407. Line 240 training, $1,000. Line 243 employee testing, $2,000. That's an increase. That service went up a little bit, and we went over this year. We're overspent on that this year, and I can't tell you how many people are going to be tested because it's a random test.
Yep.
It could be none. It could be 4. It could be 2. I don't control that. Uniforms, $4,700. 340 line contract services, $16,270. That line includes $4,200 for towing. It It includes $1,200 for the maintenance program. It includes $2,000 for tree removal, $3,820 for catch basin cleaning, $250 for a lift inspection, $4,800 for street sweeping, and that's at a rate of $120 an hour for 40 hours. Line 394, professional services, $1. Line 410, electric, $5,500.
Continue on.
Go ahead.
We're gonna ask questions once we get through the whole thing. It's all right, Tom?
Yeah, go ahead.
Line 420, heat, $4,352. Line 450, telephones, $2,836. Supply lines, 620, $29,014. The increase in that line is due to an increase in the cost of steel for cutting edges and bolts with the new tariff that we have. Also, it was a 64-cent increase in all of our different types of motor oils per gallon. So it caused a little bit of an increase in that line. The 625 line postage, $10. 630 line operating supplies, $117,900. The salt went down from 54 or something like that to $47 a ton. So we was able to drop that a little bit. All the rest of the supplies stayed basically the same.
Okay.
The 640 line vehicle fuel went up. We went over on that line this year. 645 diesel fuel stayed the same. 740 equipment maintenance line, $25,000. We added $5,000. We had a truck that's no longer on the extended warranty, so any maintenance on the truck, that truck this year, we pay for. Line 741 equipment purchase, $500. Line 742 equipment lease, $1. Line 850 membership dues, $1. Line 890 miscellaneous, $1, for a total of $652,447, and it was an increase of $21,184.
You got that, it's not 547, it's 4?
Excuse me, what?
It's
Your
because
total
the
six-
electric changed.
Okay, well, did I miss it?
Uh,
Okay, what was electric, go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, the electric line in the spreadsheet that we've got says it was 5,600. You said 55.
56. No,
You said
I
55?
changed that, so if
Okay.
you have
All right.
an older one, what I did was I took the new rate for delivery services and I calculated last year's hours.
Okay.
So I
All right.
came up with what it was going to be based off of last year's hours.
Okay, all right.
And then there might be a little bit of a savings on top of that with the new lighting.
Okay,
I did see a little bit of a drop, but I'm also plugging my trucks in, so that increased my electric. So
Yeah.
I'm really not gonna know until I get out of that scene.
Yeah.
So, just so I can be sure, is that, is 652,447?
For heat, I mean, for
No,
electric, right,
electricity.
Bob?
Yes.
No, he's at, the bottom line is
The
now.
bottom line, but
Bottom
you
line,
said something about the...
652,447,
I have,
but our printout says 547.
Right, 447.
okay, so that's the number,
Yeah, 447.
okay.
No, and for Sherry's sake, I'm sorry, Bob.
That's okay.
The electric
Go ahead.
line is 01-4312-410.
The electric line is okay. It's 5,500.
So it's 5,600, right? On that-
It was 5,600, it's now
Yeah.
5,500. He adjusted it,
Okay, sorry. I
which is
didn't
why
hear
it dropped by 100.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'll give you Peg after.
Eversource has said they're gonna increase our rates. I've seen 10%.
Who did?
I thought Eversource had said they were going to increase our rates like 10%,
Yeah.
20, something like that. Do your numbers take that into account?
Yeah, what I did, Tom.
Okay, so that was your adjustment when you calculated
I took the
it?
17 cents that
Okay.
that it was gonna go up.
Okay,
And I
all
multiplied last year's hours
Okay.
by the new rate.
right.
And I
Okay,
estimated the delivery rate at
Okay.
that cost.
okay, all right.
Because the other rate didn't go up. There's
Yeah.
two different rates on.
Okay, okay, all right.
Okay, so I just estimated the rate that was
Okay.
gonna go up. Plus, there also is another expected increase around August, and we don't know what that rate's
Yeah.
gonna be yet.
Yeah, okay. All right. I just wanted to make sure that had been done, and I missed you
Yeah.
telling me that the first time.
I did, I took that
apologize.
into account.
Yeah, I got too wrapped up into 5,500 versus
So
5,600.
when I did the original estimation, we
Yeah.
didn't know what the rate was
Yeah.
gonna be, so we just estimated what we
Yeah.
averaged per month, and it came out to the 56.
Yeah.
But with the LED lights,
Yep.
and then averaging out the hours, we were able
Okay.
to lower it just a touch.
Okay, Peg, go ahead.
Just a quick question, professional services,
Number?
well, it's not on here, so it's, 395. You spent $85 this year,
Yep.
and you only budgeted $1?
Yep. It's 394, line 394?
No, 395.
I got 394 here.
There is no 394 that I can see. Anyway,
So
just,
anyway, yeah,
you
the
spent
reason-
85,
right, so
but,
the reason I do that, Peg, is if I do something that is not budgeted that came up, I'll put it in that line, which is why there's $1 in that line to keep that line open, so I'm transparent, you can see where the money is.
well, I see you're spending money.
Huh?
I mean, is that something that comes up every year
No,
or
it's just-
not?
there's other cases that you probably could go through the budget and see different things where we either went over because it was unanticipated and it cost more, or it was a dollar line that something came in and we just put it there so that everybody can see it.
But does it really go in that line? I guess is my question.
That's why I would put it there.
Okay, all right.
It's not something we planned on doing that.
I'm sorry, what?
It's not something we really planned on, so we really didn't budget.
Well, I know, but I mean, it would fall under professional
Yeah.
services, whatever. Okay, all right,
It-
thank you.
What it
Just
does,
checking.
Peg, it fits the criteria for it. That's why.
Yeah, that's all I wanted to know was,
But we don't expect it to, but
okay,
if we did, then we'd increase that one.
Go
okay,
ahead, Larry.
thank you.
Information question on the impact of diesel mileage. Costs of DEF are pretty, they're not bouncing, they're the same for your
Yeah, they're
diesel?
horrible. We get anywhere from 2 to 3 miles a gallon with the diesel trucks with the new exhaust DEF.
So your cost per gallon of diesel fuel is added to by 10, 20, 50 cents because of the DEF?
I haven't really figured that one out, Larry. I
Yeah,
don't
okay.
know that answer.
Do
off
you-
the top of my head.
And same thing, we'll call it 4312, 645. Do you, the 64 cents a gallon that oil went up, do you use regular or have you switched to synthetic? And is there any advantage to
It
either way?
depends on what the manufacturer's calling for. There's some that's a semi-synthetic that you have to use. So when the trucks are under an extended warranty, we use whatever type of oil that warranty calls for so that we don't void the warranty. So, for example, on the heavy trucks, we can just use a 1540 motor oil, which is a basic heavy-duty diesel motor oil, but when you get into the pickup trucks, it might have to be a semi-synthetic 520 or something to that effect.
Thank
So
you.
it's based on whatever the manufacturer recommends and if the vehicle is under that extended warranty.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Tom?
I got just two questions, actually. Larry, your last question, I think you said line 645, and I think you meant 710, highway maintenance?
No, I
You're asking
put
about
it under diesel
oil?
because it was questions starting out with DEF,
Oh, okay.
which is a diesel fuel
Okay,
component.
all right. But then, for Pat, I noticed your uniform line in the last, looks like 3 years hasn't gone up any?
Uh,
Is 4,500 enough? Is that
It is for
something that
now.
should be?
I mean, I
Okay.
don't need to move it, I'm not gonna move it.
Okay, all right.
290.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, yeah.
What I basically try to
I-
do is I try to level fund
Yep.
everything that I can. If there's a cost
Okay.
increase, and
Right.
if you look at my Excel sheet, you can see across the years that I've
Yeah.
been trying to hold
Yeah.
pretty steady until this year when I got the increase in the metal and I got the
Yeah.
increase in
Yeah,
the oils and stuff, and I just
just,
hold it.
you just wanted to make sure that it wasn't, you were scrimping on, they're wearing their shirts up before they get to buy a new one,
Nope.
because it's been,
We seem
you've
to be
been
doing, we seem
constant.
to be doing okay right now.
Okay, and that was line 01-4312-290.
Any other questions? I did notice, Pat, that that your lines since 2015 just barely moved. You've been kept pretty steady with it, so. Okay. Next one is solid waste. Transfer station, whatever.
Solid waste, line 110, full-time salary, 42,852. This includes the 2019 step increase and 2,000 for overtime. The 120 solid waste part-time line, 49,120. This line is for 3 part-time employees. The total hours per week for those 3 is 46 hours, and for attendance and 20 hours for the truck driver. And it also includes a 2019 step increase. Line 220 FICA, 5,703. Line 225 Medicare, 1,334. Line 240 training, 600. Line 290 uniforms, 600. Line 340 contract services, 9,800. That was an increase due to, we have to now inspect the landfill cap twice a year. We previously only had to do it once a year. So there's gonna be a cost in having another inspection. So that's the reason of that increase. Line 371 is disposal. That went up $2,000 from $66,000 to $68,000, and we had a 3.5% increase in tip and fees at turnkey landfill. So that's the cause of that increase. Rental is $1. Line 373, hazardous waste removal, $1. Line 410, electric, $1,800. I calculated the electric the same way I did the others. Line 420, heat, $500. Line 450, telephone, $654. Line 620, supplies, $1,305. Line 625, postage, $10. Line 630, operating supplies, $1. Line 640, diesel, $8,000. Line 740, equipment maintenance, $1. Line 741, equipment purchase, $1. Line 810, equipment lease, $1. Permits and fees, $1. Total of $190,285, which is an increase of $9,393. And I will, and I'll let you know that all of the $1 lines are lines that are just left open, but the payments for any of those lines will come out of the transfer station revolving account.
Okay, John, go ahead.
When you were going down the lines at $1, spreadsheet I have has a building maintenance, but I didn't hear you say building maintenance.
What is that?
The spreadsheet we have has a line 01-4324-720, building maintenance. I didn't hear you say that.
Yeah, I don't have a 720 line, so that's gonna be added in there for something else. What do you got?
Yeah, there's one on the, expense
It's
report
not
too.
in here.
$1.
What is
Yeah.
it for?
Building maintenance. It's a building
No,
maintenance.
that's not even supposed to be in this budget.
No,
I think it's just a line to keep the line open, but.
Just in
I don't
case.
even carry it on my budget.
Okay.
Building maintenance comes out of building maintenance.
Okay, okay,
Any
but it,
building maintenance that I do on the building up there will
Yeah.
come out of building
Yeah.
maintenance.
all right.
the only question I got, Pat, is the numbers 192.85?
What's that?
The final number is 190,285?
190,285.
Okay, what,
Yeah, we have 185.
I got 185 on this one.
Yeah, it's the electric, line number
Yeah.
01-4324-410, electric.
Yeah.
He increased it $100 from what we have, based on what he had calculated.
Okay, so it's $1,800 on that line?
Yes.
Okay,
Whoa. Electric?
yeah,
Yeah, 1,800.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I got 1,800 for electric.
okay.
Yeah, yeah, on the spreadsheet that we have.
Printed
Right,
On the
this.
spreadsheet, materials we have, it's 1,700.
so it's 191.
I have 18,
Okay.
17 for the year.
Yeah.
I have 17.
17 was last year.
Yeah.
So it's 191.
So that makes it so it's 285 and down.
Right.
190,285.
Which is funny that you come up with 285 and not 284 if you don't have building maintenance on your list.
Any questions for Pat on this one?
Two.
You know, just, I'm glad to see that the uniform line on this one has increased from 3 years ago.
The only question I got, Pat, is you say these bottom lines are gonna go into revolving fund. I guarantee that you got $1 in here, it's not gonna happen.
On what's that one?
On the bottom line from, starting from, where are they? The equipment lease going all the way down.
Last 6
Yeah.
items.
Okay, there's, how many items on there? 1, 2,
6.
there's equipment maintenance, purchase, equipment lease, permit fees, and
Yeah.
miscellaneous. You leave that $1 in there, it's not going to go into that revolving fund.
No, it doesn't. It just leaves the line open.
It leaves it open, but if you're going to use the revolving fund, you're going to see that number, you're going to see whatever you spent, is going to come right here.
It's not gonna go there. It'll just come out of the revolving fund. It'll go in, it'll come onto that spreadsheet that I get from the treasurer from the revolving fund and what's spent and what's been transferred.
Okay, there was one here that I questioned back, I think as far as back as May. There's $519.20 spent in the miscellaneous line. I remember you saying it was going to come out of the revolving fund.
Yeah, I don't know that it's been moved yet.
If it has, that number shouldn't be there,
Right.
because you've been charged for it already.
Yep.
Okay, that's the only problem I have with it. If I see $1 here, they're gonna land it right here, and you're not gonna see it.
No, it won't be. I check these things. I check I get a monthly printout of all the budgets, and when I see things that are not right in there, I send them down to have them changed to go where they're supposed to go.
Because it's nothing,
And that's one that I believe has not been changed yet.
it's still here.
What's the date on that report?
What's that?
What's the date on that printout?
This is on that miscellaneous line,
The 4th,
the 01,
she asked what the date was, December 4th.
Okay, so it's in the-
1324892.
December 4th, 1:13 PM.
oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay.
So I know that you're looking at year-to-date budgets on the highway budget. There's going to be some large amounts of money being brought out of that budget, so you see 91,000 in there now. It's really only about 80, maybe even less than that by the time everything goes through.
Well, I know it says December 4th, but this is technically November. I got this, I wanted to get this for tonight so that
Yeah.
the committee can have it and see it. But it's down, I know it says December, but it's not the full month,
Yeah, I'm going to be tight on highway by the end of the month.
well, I'm sure. Is there any other questions for Pat?
Another thing I'd just like to state, I know that you've always asked me about money that's been left over, well, you turned in 100,000 this year, or you turned back 65,000. This is the year that I've always talked about when I say that if the month of November and the month of December
Yeah.
give me a tough time, I will use that money. Well, right now, the month of October, with all the rains and the washouts, I've lost culverts, I've lost roads, I've had to do those, plus we've had a whole month of November with snow and ice. And we still have the whole month of December to go. And it's gonna be, if I have anything this month, I'm gonna be close. So I just wanted to show you that when I say, well, it's a bottom line budget and I just hold money, because I don't know what November and December are gonna give me, this is why. What you see is happening this year is why that money sits there. If it doesn't snow and I don't have problems, I give it back to the taxpayers. But I have to have something there in case we have months like we have.
Okay, what it is, you never deviated from it. You kept the same amount year after year. And it's a shot in the dark. And you use it or you don't use it, but you haven't gone up on it at all. So it's always it's a guess. You know, it's a variable that you can't really control. Is there any more questions for Pat? Okay,
Thank you.
you're all set, Pat. Now, I want to go back to the library. I think I see,
Yes.
yeah, there it is.
I do have updated numbers. I know that you were given packets with all of the slides that I had and everything, but those show numbers for expenditures through the end of August, and I have updated packets here for you. Basically, my budget hasn't changed too much. There are two different areas, one of which is
I need the extra one because I got a person that's going to need it. If you have the extra, no, never mind, go ahead, I can make it from here.
They have the spare.
okay, oh, actually, I do have an extra one
You
here.
sure?
Yeah.
Okay, that's
Unless
for
everyone's
someone else.
All right. And I also did pull out a spreadsheet that shows the expenditures to date as well. Anyway, back in July, I approached my trustees and asked them to support me in making sure that we had 2 employees per shift. I feel very strongly that this is something that needs to be done, and the trustees have agreed to that, and that is the majority of what you're saying for an increase. I also asked for an extra $1,200 in the supply line, in the equipment purchase. Which one is it? Sorry. Because I would like to get a new, 741. I would like to get a new Circ desk computer. We bought new computers 8 years ago.
Excuse me, Betsy, I don't want to go, I'd like to go through the whole budget as you go
Okay.
down.
All right, so, oh, this is not right. Oh, yes, it is. Okay, yeah, so salary part-time, $36,560.45. And that is an increase which would include the 1.7 COLA and the 2% potential merit, and also making sure that there is enough coverage at the library for every shift. And FICA 220, Medicare 225 are also reflected in that. Contracted service line remains level funded. This is for the website, the catalog, fire alarm, panic button alarm, our downloadable book consortium, etc. Our custodial service is $1. We're just holding it there should we ever need it again, but basically Pat has an employee who is cleaning the building now. Electric, we are level funded at $2,000. Heat is level funded at $3,500. Telephones, level funded at 900. Office supplies, level funded at 2,000. Postage, we're going up $20 to 150. Or the post office box in Milton Mills, I was told back in 2017 that our postal rent would be not $80 and it was $90 for 2018. The program supplies, that is all of our circulation material is level funded at 8,800. As I said before, I'm requesting $1,500 under the 741 line equipment purchase. Included in that a new circulation desk computer. I'm going to try and buy one computer a year rather than coming in with a $6,000 or $7,000 warrant article request for all of the computers in one shot. Let's see. Technology line level funded at $75. Mileage and travel, I am increasing from $235 to $350. Membership and dues, I'm decreasing from $335 to $250. And the miscellaneous line, I had it $1 and I'm asking for $50. I use that line for background checks for any new staff. I didn't think I was going to hire anyone new this year, but I ended up hiring 2 new employees.
Okay, and your total is?
The total is $62,133.
Okay. Any questions? Dave?
Couple questions. Is there a particular reason, I'm going to guess there is, the circulation desk computer is being put in equipment purchase versus technology? If you're
Line number, please.
741 and 744.
You can put it in the other one. The 741 line is for, you'll note in the detail, is for bookcases, chairs, desk racks, etc. And I put it in there, but it certainly could go under the 744 line. I could just switch the numbers if that makes you happy.
It seemed odd for the computers to be in a line item when there's a technology line item.
Wait.
And the separate question, so I'll admit, I haven't been into the library. Jawara, she has a lot, but how many computers are in the library?
We have 1 circ desk computer and 4 patron computers.
And your target is, with the 5 computers, cycling them out once a year?
Yes.
Okay.
All
That's
set,
all I-
Dave?
Yep.
Okay,
that's-
Larry? No? Okay, Tom?
For let's see, get over here, what line are we at here? Looks like we're at line, the salary line, 4550-120. You're asking for an increase right now to add a second person to have 2 people on staff at all times, correct?
What I'm asking for is to make sure that every shift has 2 people in the building.
Okay, to cover to have 2 people.
Yes.
And I think I heard you say that line also included the merit and COLA increase?
Yes.
So how much is again, same question I asked everybody else that had increases combined with the COLA and merit. Could you tell us what the contribution of COLA and merit versus the contribution of the additional monies to cover to have guarantee 2 people that are on staff at all times?
Well, if you look on the spreadsheet that was in that packet, I have a default number of 35,560. So that would be the increase without the COLA. and
Okay.
merit increase.
Except I see your 2018 was 29,000, so it looks like to me that there's like, if you added somebody this year, that there's like $11,000 there for the additional, to have people there. I just feel like I'm missing something somewhere. It's like the numbers don't seem to.
My employees received a merit increase and a COLA in July.
Mhm.
The way I was told to figure that is that for 2018, in July through December would include the hourly increase with the COLA. The next year would be the full year with that increase, because their raise wouldn't, the next year's raise wouldn't go up. Is that making sense? So if I was making $5 an hour this year after the July increase, I would be making $5 an hour next year all year long.
Maybe it's, but the difference is like $7,000 here. What I'm trying to figure out is what is maybe this is what it is. In 2018, did you hire an additional person?
Yes.
Okay.
I hired three additional people.
Okay, so your salary number for 2019 reflects those additional people.
Correct.
Okay, I think that explains, because I was trying to look at it makes better sense now. I'll just leave it at that.
Different part-time people, I think that's part of what the issue is, what he's looking at. He's saying you have new people. He's looking at it with new people, new different part-time people plugged into the slots.
Yeah,
So
but
it's a big difference.
when I look at the default number, my understanding of the default was it is supposed to be the same
It
as
is the same.
last year.
I had to recalculate her default.
Okay.
That's why the default you have in front of them, she hasn't seen the new default.
Okay. That's where I got confused. Is it? Okay. All right.
Default
Okay.
got recalculated.
Okay.
Have I started to tell you that today?
Okay.
Yes, but
I got you.
Set
I'm
down.
good. I'm good.
I want to sit down.
We'll let them figure that out. I'm good now.
You still want something, Larry?
It's the same on both sheets.
So what would happen? The employees that
Hold
we
on.
hired would leave?
No. Well, so they have to find them.
Okay, Larry, go ahead.
Do you have
Wanna
any
try it?
defaults?
We do. We'll give it, they're gonna address that. I'll support address that. But we do have it. But yeah, we have to find the money somewhere. I'll show you.
Can we get back in order? Larry, did you want something?
Yeah, I'm just trying to do very simple
Okay,
math,
then
which is my best kind.
If
Um,
you want me to have
So-
Peg go before you?
that you can do the rest of the math, but just taking a simple salary of $10 and a simple salary of $20, and you add the mythical 2% plus 1.7, and you get a salary increase of $10.37 if they're making $10 an hour, and you get an increase to $20.74. So if you take two hours of the $20 per hour person and 1 hour of the $10 person, you're going to get a different total than if you take 2 hours of the $10 person and 1 hour of the $20 person.
Yep.
And that's how it works.
Peg, did you have any question? I thought I saw your hand up.
Well, yeah, because they were talking about a different default number, but I guess we're not going to get it yet. So we'll get it eventually.
Dave?
Just the one thing that jumped out, that I found out, so electric, line 410, it's like, been asking for 2,000 all the time, but it's like, it's only been 870 expended this year. It's like, does the electric vary that wildly that it needs to be 2,000 instead of like 1,000? That would still give you a $130 buffer, which is percentage-wise significant.
What happened with the electric line last year is I was going to cut it significantly, and I was told that we were going to have an increase. And then, as Tom just pointed out with Pat, that we're having a 10% increase next year. So,
This is 17% that we had on the delivery charges in August, which just, I mean, that just happened in August.
Well said,
Well, and that's why I was like, even if there's you were saying a 10% increase over the current rates, it's like, that would still mean next year your electric bill's total's only gonna be $960.
well, wait a minute here, because I don't, let me just make sure that I did receive the November bill. Okay, there was, the November bill hasn't hit yet, so we still have 2 months. You are right, that yes, I could probably decrease it to 1,300 to 1,500, but I still have 2 months left to pay for. That's 10 months, not 11 months.
you all set, Dave?
Yeah, I know,
Yeah,
I know
that's
that we're
no
looking
problem.
for any dollar we can take off, and I'm like, that seems like an easy one right there. It's like, we're not spending $2,000 a year on the library electric, let's cut the budget down and some there.
There's going to be some changes in the budget. We haven't got there yet. I don't want to bring it out just now, but there is going to be some reductions when we get to it. Heather will tell us about it. I haven't said nothing. I want to wait till we get there, and you'll be able to explain it. Is there any other questions for Betsy? Okay, Betsy, we're all set.
Okay.
This ends the presentations for the town's budget. The budget committee will go into regular session now with the approval of minutes, which I have here.
No,
Oh,
they need to close their meeting if they want to leave.
okay. Go ahead.
All right, first of all, I'd like to bring our meeting back from recess. And I'd like to start by making a motion to go ahead and approve the default budget in the amount of $4,562,923.43, which is a decrease from the proposed budget in the amount of $122,293.39.
So I replace those again. Go read them again, just so that the,
Thank you.
So they can hear.
they ain't watching anybody write, so.
I want to make a motion to approve the default budget in the amount of $4,562,923.43, which is a decrease in the approved budget of $122,293.39.
Decrease.
Second that.
All in favor?
All right.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, before we close, Selectman Lucia would like to make a statement.
And we're as guilty as everybody else, but we're doing a projection over here, and I don't know if there's any way of whether split screening it, so in light of transparency, whether for people at home that are seeing what we're seeing, so that they can see and understand exactly where we're at. I know we're kind of late in the game.
Well, we still got 2 more presentations. I'm just wondering if we put it facing this way in front of the camera, we're gonna be hidden, but we're nothing to look at. But if we can get it close enough You might be able to pick it up, but we'd
Well,
have
I
to
mean,
try it
that's
out.
something for technology, but I mean, it's just, it's been brought up to my attention is like, you know, we're talking amongst each other in
Yeah.
our meetings, you're talking in your meetings, referring to this screen, and nobody out in the real world is seeing exactly what we're talking about. They're not seeing the information that we're getting, so.
What it would,
Oh.
well, okay.
So that's just, you know, and it'll be brought up at the next Board of Selectmen's meeting also again,
Yeah.
but just so that if you could make yourselves aware of it, that we could try to, in the light of transparency, so everybody gets the same message that we're all getting, so.
Okay, I'm gonna start with Dave, then I'll go with Tom.
Right off the top of my head, the short-term, simple solution to me seems, these are all done well before today. Like, there's no reason that for the presentation pieces, like the like the PowerPoints that the chief is flipping through, to put them as a PDF and put them on the website, which means anybody that's sitting at home in front of a computer could download those things and just follow along on their own computer.
Right, and I agree with that, and then vice versa, or if you've got something that you're gonna be bringing forward,
Same
do the
thing.
same thing, so that in light of transparency, everybody's getting the same message that we're getting here, but they're not seeing it from home, so.
Because I can almost guarantee you, even if we put that behind us
You're
and
gonna get-
present
it's gonna
it,
be
they wouldn't be able to
distorted.
see
I
it.
won't be able to see it. Tom?
When this gets talked about at the next Board of Selectmen's meeting, I would recommend having the gentleman that set the system up come in and tell us how to do it the best it can be done. It's beyond my capabilities of figuring out how to run this thing. I could figure it out, but I've got his name somewhere. There should be a PO somewhere that can be to tell you who it was. I want to say PACnet.
Yep.
But it can be done. You have to wire the computer hook the computer up, and it can be done. The software we have will do it. That's going to be the best way to do it. It's beyond my capabilities of knowing how to work with a Mac to do it. So,
Make a motion to adjourn the Milton Board of Selectmen.
Second it? All in favor?
Aye.
Now the budget committee will go back into regular session. I got the meeting minutes here. No, I don't know. Let's start passing these down.
are these the same as what you had sent out?
Everybody's not listening.
Yes,
Okay.
these are the same ones. She had to send it to me because I did not get it.
Okay.
I think I printed mine, so I think I'm all set.
Okay. Everybody got one?
Right back.
Okay.
Take one and pass it down.
I did.
Thank you, Heather.
Thank you.
Oops, here, Larry.
Yeah, there is a different number for insurance.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Have anybody looked them over? If there's any corrections, please relay them to Peg. The only change I have here is where it says the very top of the title, Town of Milton, Town Budget Committee, it should have special meeting underneath the Town Budget Committee. It has to have some type of source, regular, special.
Okay, so add special. Okay, because I had several changes that I
Okay,
did on mine at home. Special meeting?
yep, it's a special meeting.
Okay,
It's not a regular one.
okay.
Okay, and it was Tuesday, November 8th, not what I thought it was Thursdays. It was Tuesday, I believe.
That's what it says here is
It
Tuesday.
says.
Is it in the red? Okay, why did I put this one in the red? It must be one of the older ones.
Yeah, that's your old printout. Here's your stuff. the new
Okay.
ones.
I gotta throw these out.
So it
Okay,
should
so
be
that's okay.
Thursday, November 8th, then, yes, no?
Wait a minute,
Tuesday.
let me take a look here. It's been so
Well,
long.
Thursday, November 8th was a
It was a
Thursday.
Thursday, that's where it had to
yes.
change.
Yep.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I should have changed it, but I put a mark on it. Okay,
Okay.
and that's all I had.
I saw it.
And I got another set of them
Oh.
too. Okay,
Mr. Chairman?
yes,
The only thing I saw, and maybe I didn't look at it as careful as everybody else, my name's got 2 L's. She's got some places it's 2 L's, some places it's 1.
okay, do you know whereabouts?
Page 5.
Okay, can you note that, Peg?
I'll send her I can highlight it and send it to her.
Dougal. Oh, McDougal.
Yeah.
There we go, there's one.
Yeah, it looked like page 4 is where the L's must have been in short supply after page 4.
Well, you know, you have to pay a lot for them.
That extra ink.
Save that ink. But wait, we must have. got
Okay,
something
so
on it on page 7.
starts page 4, your name is misspelled.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, page 5. Last correct spelling was page 4.
Yeah,
And then it's correct on page 7.
Okay,
I will just look for
Spell check.
McDougal.
That's spell check for you. That's
All right.
spell check for you.
is there any other, you said, Peg, you had something you said at home?
Yep, that I did on the one at home. They were, oh God. And I did not print them out.
Is there a way that,
Well, we've got, did a sped papa on page 3. Would be a para. Under sped, third paragraph up, where Mr. McDougal is spelled correctly.
Oh, yeah.
We do not have papas in the building.
okay, where'd you see that, Peg?
Third paragraph from the bottom on page 3. Mr. McDougal, and
You're
then
looking at the
did
wrong.
a sped papa.
November 8th.
Oh, are you looking at the wrong?
November 8th.
Okay,
I've
November
got too many
8th.
minutes, okay, I got it. I'm sorry. I got 2 sets of minutes here. Okay, the para is,
That's still not the right one.
I know, let me get rid of this. This has been a long day. Have I got the right, I still don't have the right
Yeah.
one.
That's what it looks like on the front.
Okay, I know, I had it. Continue on.
Peg?
Are you there? Did you find the papa?
I know, I got it's the wrong one. Here's another one.
Where are we?
We're still on
page
November
3.
8th on page 3.
The paragraph above that, 2 up above 2, there's the word activity. I think it should be actively.
Where was this? Sorry.
It's 2 paragraphs above where we corrected para. It says we don't activity solicit. I think it should be
you're right.
actively.
Actively.
On the very first page too, with the last paragraph, there's a word that is negations. I think it should be negotiations.
Yep.
Oh, I know, it was that whole default budget. Well, let's call it negations.
Close.
First page.
Oh.
Yeah,
Oh.
I caught that one. Also, that last sentence, the default budget. It's really not an increase, it's $87,000 less than the proposed. I mean, there was some
Yeah.
real, and then the proposed total budget. Percentage of the budget which is mandated is 41%, no. Those are the controllables that were 41%, I did make that correction. So, 1, 2, 3.
The controllable, Peg, I think they were .41.
Right, and she's saying a percentage of the budget which is mandated is .41, which is
Okay.
not true. So she's saying 2.27 is controllable.
And I'm guessing
So it's the exact opposite.
2.27 is the mandated.
Right, and the .41 is the controllable. So I did make that switch, but I make sure that you know what I will do is I will go home and I will make the changes in red. I'll send them to you.
Okay,
And then you can send them out to everybody
all right.
and to Sherry too, so.
Okay, I'll send it, I'll do it that way. It'll be easier than going through all
Yeah,
of this.
yeah, because as I said, I've made quite a few changes, so
All right.
it's just easier for me to do them online.
Is everybody agreeable to that? If so, I need a motion.
I move that Peg,
That we table these until.
that we table the minutes, Peg makes her corrections, sends them to Bob, and Bob forwards them to those committee members that need to get it.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Tammy. You got a discussion?
I moved ahead to page 6, where it says, about 4 inches up from the bottom, at 8:15 PM, Mr. Carrier stopped the workshop.
Yes, it was actually, it was a budget presentation. We did stop at about 8:15.
If the scribe could add an ED to the verb, that would be.
Where are you?
Oh,
Page 6.
No.
Page
Stop,
6.
stop.
fourth paragraph from the bottom, Mr. Carrier stopped the workshop, not stopped the workshop.
Actually, stopped the presentation, but
Yeah.
it's not a workshop, it was a presentation. Good catch, Larry. Okay, you got that one, do you know?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there any others in here? Well, we got a motion on the table.
Yeah, I've
anyway,
got-
but the thing
So
is,
it was this
any more
one
dis-
and the 13th that I have at home that I did corrections online and then didn't print them out.
So both of them we need to.
So I will do
Defer.
both of them.
I'm gonna table both of them?
Yep, and
Yeah,
I will
okay.
send them out to you with corrections in red.
Okay, and I can take care of it from there. I'll send it.
That was an I. And
So,
Pardon?
wait a minute, we have to redo the motion because we just did
Oh.
just a November 8th one,
Just do a second motion for the,
okay?
I move that we defer the minutes for the 13th to our next meeting.
We've got a motion
Okay, we
on
still
the
got,
table.
you gotta
Oh,
still
wait.
vote on the
Oh,
first one, unless you
sorry.
wanna change that motion.
Yeah, can we amend the
Well,
motion?
Tom made the motion.
Tom, do you wanna change it to make it both? Just
Yeah,
take a vote.
I'll amend the motion to cover both the 8th and the 13th minutes.
Okay.
Second.
Larry, if I get it right?
yes.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? No. Okay, motion passes. I'll carry this on to the next meeting. Okay, now, there was another, well, might as well go through all these again. I've lost my agenda, as usual.
Any other business?
Is there any other business that, coming before the board? Is there anything? Okay, seeing none. The next meeting is December 11th. And you're to take these binders with you. If there's some information you think that is missing, I've only printed just so much. The fire department was 95 pages. I did not do all of them, but if you need more information, just let me know, and I'll add to it. But they're in order as they're going to be presented. That's how it is, and that's at the minute tab. I think if you lift that, you will see the very first one that starts. That's the only way I could do it, so.
Okay, so you already pre-printed
I
all of
pre-printed
the
all of them, that's why I
presentations,
said
and they're all
Thank
in
you.
there.
Take the binders with you. Don't lose your expenditure report, because that's the only one we're gonna get. And they passed the default, now we have something to work with. Okay, is there a, Peg, go ahead.
Yeah, I just have a question that I don't think I really got an answer. Did the town have the same restraints with their default that we did with the school? Does anybody know?
What specific, I'm sorry.
Yes, Tom.
That's okay.
What specific changes did they, restraints did they put on you from years previous?
No, they did not. Okay, I know what you're gonna say. They're not under the same rules as the school.
Okay, thank you.
That's the,
Of course.
that I asked her about that, and she said, so far, the state has not touched the town. I didn't mean to cut you off,
No,
Tom.
that's,
Yeah, no, that's okay. But to answer your question, the only thing that could be included in the default, if, all right, so if the teachers their contract is up in July, or, yeah, June 30th. If it had been for another year, we could have included their increases because the town had already approved that money. Any other increases, we could not. So, you know, like their 2% and their COLA and their this and their all of their other ones.
None of that would be applicable.
We could not put any of that stuff in. If we decided to fire a principal and we were not going to replace it, we could not put that principal's salary in. If we were planning on replacing it, yes, we could. Any contracts, there were increases, we could not add that to the default. Any
that have been
contracts,
negotiated.
only
Negotiated increases you could not.
only if, and the only one that really the town people actually vote on is the teacher contract. So any increases in contracts with, say, Back Bay or anybody else, any increases in oil, any increases in any of that, we could not put in the default budget.
That is how the town budget is supposed to, the default is also supposed to work. You're not supposed to, if you know you're gonna have an increase in electric, but for your default, you're not supposed to build that increase into your default electric number. If you know oil's gonna go up 10 cents a gallon, you cannot build that increase into your default. The default for those items is what it was your previous year's budget. I'm not sure about if you have a position that you've eliminated. I don't remember what that was. David might from the seminar. But yeah, that.
So you went to the default budget
What's that?
seminar? You went to a default budget?
I went to the budget seminar and that came up.
Okay,
The,
all right.
the thing with the contracts, if it is a negotiated, like let's say you have a contract with Back Bay and it's a 5-year contract, you have a negotiated 5% increase every year in the cost of the contract. That's written in the contract when you've agreed on it. That increase was agreed on. You can have that increase. But if you have Back Bay and you've allocated $20,000 for this year's contract, well, guess what? Your default budget for next year is $20,000. You can't say, oh, well, we know they're always going to want to go up. We have to increase. You can't.
Yep.
And it's that way for the town. It's supposed to be
Yeah.
that way for the town as well. Which was the reason why I got confused when I saw the library default budget number for the salaries. That's what got my confusion there.
Well, that's, I know, because I'm seeing their default budget and just wondering.
Write this one up.
Yeah, and it's, that was why there was a motion, there was a warrant article a couple of years ago that was presented to have the default budget fall under the budget committee's purview, and it got voted down. But it was because there was some unhappiness with the way it was done.
Okay.
You know, this should have come under any other business. We could have had this discussion.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We're past that.
We'll still hear any other, this would be members' comments. The step plan for the highway department is not a union contract. It is, however, presented to the voters for approval, and it is part of the town budget and, quote, enforceable on that basis. Suggestion: have an intent as late as possible in the game as you can for the school board, so that you, as long as you can, it is your intent to do such and such. The second thing is to find out from your school attorney what it means that such and such a financial item was discussed at the public hearing, and what leverage the fact that a topic has been discussed at the public hearing has in future budgets regarding default. That's where you need your school board attorney to give you answer on those two.
No, because just to continue with that, the non-union people, the paras, the bus drivers, and custodians, they all have a step.
And that's why it should be introduced in the public hearing as the policy of the district. Find out how to do that from your school board attorney so that it becomes part of,
Okay,
as we
good.
would say in New York, the whole Megillah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Yes.
Because I think a big majority of the increases on the town budget stuff was all related to COLA and step
Yeah.
increases. And the thing is, the step increases do roll into the default budget. They have to, because those were actually already pre-voted and the townspeople already
Yes.
said, we're gonna do these step, no.
Yep.
So they've already pre-approved those, the step increases.
So we just need to present those to,
You need to do
Next
a
year,
similar
or
thing from a
next
step, a step increases
Pay your
for your,
lawyer.
for your,
right,
yes.
we pay our lawyer, trust me.
Yeah.
Are we finished? Need a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
Okay.
What took
All
you so
those in
long?
favor?
Aye.
Stand up,
Those
please.
I don't
opposed?
want to snake.
Okay, we adjourned at 8:26 PM.
What was it, somebody was going to abstain? Was that in this, or was it the school